Hello, 7th graders. Today we're going to learn about graphing in slope-intercept form. So once again, here's our slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Remember, our m is our slope and our b is our y-intercept. So for our first example, we have y equals 2x minus 3. Now remember, our slope is that coefficient, the number before the variable, that number before x. So our slope in this case is just 2. Now because our slope-intercept form is plus b, not minus b, we actually have to turn this to plus and negative, to keep it in slope-intercept form. So I have y equals 2x plus negative 3, telling me that my y-intercept, my b, is just going to be that negative 3. Now looking at that second example, we have 4x plus 3y equals 9. Well, our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. That is not in slope-intercept form. So we actually have to move things around before we can figure out what my slope and what my y-intercept is. Well, the very first step is to subtract out that 4x from both sides, and we're left with 3y equals negative 4x plus 9. Now we're very close to having in slope-intercept form, but we still need to get rid of that 3 by dividing by 3 on both sides, and we're left with negative 4/3 x plus 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3, leaving us with our slope of negative 4/3 and our y-intercept of 3. So taking a step backwards, we're going to look at graphing an equation in slope-intercept form. So the very first step is to look and say, is my equation in slope-intercept form? Is it in that y equals mx plus b? If it is, then you can move right on to number 2. If it is not, that is the very first step. You have to rewrite the equation just as we did in that last example, and then we can move on to number 2, where you just plot your y-intercept. Remember, that's where you put the number on your y-axis. That's our b. Third step is from your y-intercept, from your b, you're going to move according to your slope. We're going to use rise over run, and we have to plot at least 3 points. So 3 or 4 more points. After you do that, we can just go ahead and connect our points to make a line. Make sure you extend your line in both directions and add arrows. Do not forget your arrows. This represents an infinite number of x and y values that are the solutions to the equation. So right off the bat, this first example, it's already in slope-intercept form, so we can move on to step. So the very first step, once again, is to look and see if my equation is already in slope-intercept form, which in this case, it already is. So from there, we know that our y-intercept is 2 and our slope is 3/4. The second step then is just plot your y-intercept, which in this case is 2. I'm going to plot it right there on the y-axis. Now I'm going to move according to my slope. Well, we know my slope is 3/4, so that means I'm going to rise 3 and run 4. So from my y-intercept, I'm going to rise 3, 1, 2, 3, and run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is where my next point will go. Right there. And then I'll do the same thing. Rise 1, 2, 3. Run 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my next point. And you keep doing that until you get at least 3 points on there. 3 or 4 is what we need. So if I wanted to add a 4th point, I can't go up and to the right because then I'd be off the graph. Instead, if I make these both negative, so negative 3 over negative 4, now I can still go down 3 from that point, 1, 2, 3, and then over to the left because it's negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is still in line with the line that I'm creating. So finally, I can draw my line, and my line should go through every point that I graphed, and it should also be linear. It should be a straight line. Don't forget to extend your lines and add your arrows. Last example, go ahead and pause the video, try it on your own, and then come back and see how you did. All right, so the first step, I already put it in the slope-intercept form for you. I subtracted out the 6x on both sides, leaving me with just that 2y equals negative 6x plus 10. I rearranged it so that the constant came last. Next, I divided both sides by 2, leaving me with just a y on the left side, and negative 6x divided by 2 is negative 3x, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So then I can go ahead and graph it. The first thing I'm going to do is plot my y-intercept, which is 5. So I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First point there. Now from there, I have negative 3 as my slope, or negative 3 over 1. That means that I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. That's where my next point goes. I'm going to keep doing that. Now I go down 3 again, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. That's my next point, and I could keep going. Last step, draw your line through your points. Make sure you extend your line and draw arrows on your line.